Everyone is desperate to be seen, posting their lives, their wins, their pain, hoping attention will save them. But the more visible you become, the more predictable you are. This is the problem we solve today: how to stay powerful, private, and untouchable in a world that profits from exposing you. They never warn you about this. They tell you power comes from being noticed, from being loud, from being admired. They tell you that if people aren't watching you, you're losing. But what they don't tell you, what they carefully hide, is that the moment everyone is watching you, you are no longer in control. Invisibility is not absence. It is a position. Look closely at any room where decisions are being made. The loudest voice rarely holds the real power. The one who interrupts, boasts, or performs is often compensating. The real authority sits quietly, observing, measuring, waiting. Invisibility gives you time, and time is leverage. When you are unseen, expectations disappear. No one pressures you to perform. No one rushes you to deliver. No one notices your mistakes while you are still learning. You are free to fail privately, to experiment without consequences, to sharpen your skills without judgment. The world assumes nothing of you, and that is precisely why you can become anything. Attention is a spotlight, and spotlights blind both the audience and the performer. Once you step into it, every move you make is dissected. Every flaw is magnified. Every delay is questioned. You begin living for reactions instead of results. But when you step away from the light, clarity returns. You start making decisions for yourself, not for applause. The unseen have a rare advantage. They see people as they truly are. When no one thinks you matter, they stop pretending. They speak freely. They reveal intentions. They show weakness. They expose patterns. Invisibility turns the world into an open book, and most people don't even realize they're being read. This is how thieves walk through guarded halls. This is how strategists stay ahead. This is how power moves unnoticed until it is too late to stop. People fear being ignored, but being ignored is protection. It shields you from envy, from sabotage, from unnecessary competition. When others don't know your direction, they can't block your path. When they don't know your destination, they can't race you there. Silence keeps your plans intact. There is elegance in restraint. There is intelligence in waiting. The invisible are underestimated, and underestimation is a gift. It lowers defenses. It invites mistakes. It creates openings. While others fight for validation, you collect information. While they announce progress, you make progress. While they seek approval, you build independence. Visibility ties you to an image. Invisibility frees you from one. When people expect nothing from you, you are free to surprise them, and surprise is one of the most powerful weapons in any game. The unseen strike once, not repeatedly. They choose moments, not moods. They act when outcomes are inevitable, not when attention is available. The world trains people to confuse noise with importance. But history doesn't remember who spoke the most. It remembers who moved the smartest. The most effective figures were often quiet, until the moment their presence could no longer be ignored. Invisibility is not hiding because you are afraid. It is hiding because you are preparing. It allows you to refine without interruption, to grow without comparison, to become without explanation. It keeps your energy intact in a world that feeds on reaction. The unseen don't waste themselves proving anything. They let reality speak on their behalf. And perhaps the greatest power of invisibility is this: when you are unseen, you are not owned. Algorithms can't trap you. Opinions can't shape you. Trends can't rush you. You move at your own rhythm, guided by intention rather than influence. Most people are exhausted because they live on display. Every thought shared. Every step is documented. Every move explained. Invisibility gives you your inner world back. It restores depth in an age of exposure. Those who master invisibility don't disappear forever. They understand timing. They know when to remain silent and when to step forward. But until that moment arrives, they remain ghosts, present, aware and untouched, watching the world reveal itself, waiting patiently, while others mistake attention for power. The world no longer asks who you are. It asks how visible you are. Every screen you touch is designed to pull you forward, to reward you for being louder, faster, more exposed. Attention is sold as opportunity, as influence, as proof that you matter. But attention is not freedom. Attention is a cage lined with applause. The moment you taste it, something changes. You begin measuring your worth in reactions. You start editing your thoughts before you even think them. You adjust your behavior not based on truth, but based on what will be accepted, shared, or praised. This is how attention quietly takes control. Attention does not just watch you, it shapes you. Once people are watching, you become predictable. Patterns form. Expectations lock in. The audience decides who you are allowed to be, and deviation becomes a risk. Growth slows because growth often looks messy, uncertain, unfinished, and attention punishes anything that isn't polished. This is why attention is a trap. It rewards performance, not progress. People who live under constant observation stop taking real risks. They choose safe opinions, safe moves, safe identities. The cost of being wrong becomes public, permanent, searchable, so they repeat what already works, even when it no longer serves them. The trap tightens when validation enters the picture. Likes feel like approval, views feel like importance, praise feels like connection, but none of it belongs to you. It can be taken away without warning, without explanation, without fairness. When your confidence depends on attention, your power belongs to whoever controls it. Platforms understand this better than people do. They don't just distribute attention, they ration it. They reward consistency over quality, exposure over depth, outrage over insight. To stay visible, you must keep feeding the machine, and the machine is never satisfied. Attention demands more sharing, more reacting, more revealing. Slowly, privacy begins to feel suspicious. Silence begins to feel like failure, and the most dangerous illusion takes hold, the belief that if you stop being seen, you will disappear. But disappearance is exactly what breaks the trap. Attention creates pressure to explain yourself, to justify your pace, to defend your choices, to remain available. The unseen owe no explanations. They don't rush to respond. They don't perform urgency. They don't expose their inner world for public consumption. When you step away from attention, something unexpected happens. Your mind becomes quieter. Your decisions become clearer. Your identity becomes yours again. You start acting based on long-term intent rather than short-term reaction. You no longer need to announce beginnings or narrate struggles. You simply move, and movement without announcement is difficult to interfere with. Attention also attracts enemies disguised as observers. Comparison breeds resentment. Visibility invites projection. The more people see you, the more they assign motives, stories, and judgments that have nothing to do with reality. Most of the criticism you receive under attention is not about you, it is about who others become when they look at you. The unseen avoid this noise entirely. They are not distracted by approval or poisoned by criticism. They remain emotionally unreachable, and emotional distance is strategic distance. Attention turns life into a performance. Invisibility turns life into a strategy. Those who escape the trap understand something critical. Influence without dependence is power. They don't reject attention entirely. They refuse to be ruled by it. They decide when to appear and when to withdraw. They treat attention as a tool, not an identity. The world is filled with talented people stuck in loops of exposure, always present, always reacting, always accessible, exhausted from being available to everyone, and accountable to opinions that don't matter. Stepping away is not quitting. It is reclaiming authorship. When attention no longer defines your value, you stop negotiating with it. You stop chasing trends that don't align with your direction. You stop explaining yourself to audiences that will never understand your destination. The trap only works if you stay inside it, and the door has always been open. Those who walk away don't announce their exit. They simply stop performing. They let the noise continue without them. And in that quiet space they rebuild strength, clarity, and autonomy, while the world remains distracted, applauding shadows, mistaking visibility for power. The most dangerous thing you can do in this world is explain yourself too much. People believe clarity builds trust, but overexposure builds control. Every detail you reveal becomes a handle others can grab, interpret, twist, or use against you. Strategic mystery is not deception, it is discipline. Mystery protects momentum. When everything about you is known, your next move is obvious. Predictability makes interception easy. But when your intentions remain unclear, people hesitate. They miscalculate. They wait. And while they wait, you move. The world is uncomfortable with what it cannot label. Humans rush to define, categorize, and conclude because uncertainty feels like loss of control. Strategic mystery exploits this weakness. It forces others to fill gaps with assumptions, and assumptions are often wrong. Those who speak less are studied more. Silence creates gravity. It makes people lean in. It invites curiosity without offering answers. When you resist the urge to clarify every action, you maintain narrative control. You let outcomes speak instead of explanations, and outcomes are far harder to argue with. Strategic mystery also preserves your energy. Explaining yourself is exhausting. Defending choices is draining. Correcting misconceptions is endless. The moment you decide not to engage, not to clarify, not to react, you reclaim hours of mental space that can be redirected into growth. Most people narrate their lives in real time. They announce intentions before results. They describe struggles before solutions. They share plans before execution. This is not transparency. It is a vulnerability without purpose. When you reveal unfinished thoughts, you invite unfinished opinions. When you share plans prematurely, you expose them to doubt, criticism, and interference. Strategic mystery waits. It allows ideas to mature in silence, free from outside influence. The unseen understand timing. They know when mystery is more powerful than explanation. There is also safety in being unreadable. People manipulate what they understand. They exploit patterns. They target weaknesses. Strategic mystery denies them this advantage. When others cannot fully map your motives or predict your reactions, they tread carefully. This is why the most effective players rarely overshare. They answer questions without revealing direction. They speak without committing details. They remain polite but undefined. Mystery is not coldness. It is control of access. Not everyone deserves insight into your thinking. Not every audience deserves context. Not every curiosity deserves satisfaction. Strategic mystery draws boundaries without confrontation. It quietly decides who gets proximity and who remains at a distance. In a world obsessed with disclosure, restraint becomes intimidating. People mistake mystery for confidence, because confidence does not rush to be understood. It does not chase acceptance. It does not panic when misunderstood. It remains steady while others speculate. Speculation is useful. It keeps attention outward, not inward. While others guess, you build. While they debate, you prepare. While they wait for explanations, you deliver results. Strategic mystery also prevents premature identity traps. When you label yourself too early, you limit evolution. You become attached to a version of yourself that may no longer fit where you are going. Mystery keeps identity flexible. It allows growth without contradiction. Those who constantly define themselves end up defending old versions of who they were. Those who remain undefined move forward without apology. There is a reason master strategists reveal little and observe much. Information asymmetry is power. Knowing more than you reveal creates leverage in every interaction. Strategic mystery is not about hiding everything. It is about choosing what remains unseen. The world rewards those who appear simple, open, and predictable, but it fears those it cannot read. Fear creates distance. Distance creates respect. Respect creates freedom. Strategic mystery is not passive. It is active restraint. It is the decision to pause before speaking, to delay before revealing, to listen instead of perform. It sharpens perception because silence forces observation. When you stop filling space with explanations, you begin noticing details others miss. Tone shifts, behavioral patterns, inconsistencies. You gain insight simply by letting others talk. The more you know, the less you need to say. And perhaps the most overlooked aspect of strategic mystery is this. It protects your inner world. Your ambitions remain untouched by doubt. Your confidence remains untested by opinions. Your direction remains clear because it has not been diluted by consensus. Those who master strategic mystery are rarely the loudest in the room, but when they act, the room changes. They don't need to announce intent. Their presence alone alters calculations. In a world where everything is exposed, mystery becomes an advantage that cannot be copied, rushed, or automated. It belongs only to those disciplined enough to hold back, patient enough to wait, and aware enough to understand that power is not in being known, but in being impossible to fully understand. Noise is everywhere. Opinions collide. Updates refresh. Voices compete to dominate every second. In this chaos, silence feels like absence. But silence is not emptiness. Silence is a weapon. The silent advantage belongs to those who move without announcing motion. While others speak to be acknowledged, the silent observe to understand, and understanding always moves faster than noise. When you stop reacting publicly, you gain an edge few people ever experience. Reaction ties you to the present moment. Silence frees you to think beyond it. You are no longer dragged into arguments, trends, or emotional loops designed to steal focus. Focus compounds when it is uninterrupted. The world trains people to respond instantly. Fast replies, hot takes, immediate presence. But speed is not strength. Speed without direction is exposure. Silence creates delay, and delay creates strategy. It allows you to assess before committing, to evaluate consequences before choosing sides, to see how situations unfold while others exhaust themselves reacting. Those who master the silent advantage do not rush to be first. They wait to be effective. Silence also disrupts expectations. People expect responses. They expect defense. They expect explanation. When none arrives, discomfort sets in. Uncertainty grows. And in uncertainty, others reveal their intentions, their impatience, their weaknesses. A person who cannot be provoked, cannot be controlled. The silent advantage protects emotional energy. Every reaction costs something. Attention, time, clarity. When you remain silent, you conserve resources, and conserved resources can be deployed deliberately, not impulsively. This is why restraint appears powerful. It signals self-command. Silence is often mistaken for submission, but submission explains itself. Silence owes nothing. When you stop narrating your struggles, you remove the audience from your process. Progress becomes quieter, steadier, and faster. You are no longer interrupted by advice you didn't ask for, or opinions that dilute conviction. The silent advantage also sharpens your instincts. Without constant output, your mind turns inward. Reflection replaces reaction. Pattern recognition strengthens. You start sensing shifts before they happen, because you are no longer distracted by surface-level noise. People who speak constantly hear less. Silence gives you access to information others miss. In conversations, the quiet one learns more than the talker. In negotiations, the one who pauses controls the tempo. In conflict, the one who does not escalate decides when it ends. This advantage extends beyond speech. It applies to visibility, to disclosure, to presence. Moving silently through life reduces friction. Fewer eyes, fewer expectations, fewer obstacles. When no one knows your exact position, you are harder to target. When no one knows your timing, you cannot be rushed. The silent advantage allows you to choose your moments, and moments decide outcomes. Those who constantly announce intentions are interrupted before completion. Those who move silently finish first. This is not secrecy for its own sake. It is efficiency. Silence also builds resilience. When you stop relying on external acknowledgement, internal stability grows. You become less shaken by lack of response, less dependent on validation, less reactive to neglect. Strength consolidates in private. The most composed individuals are rarely the most visible. They are the most grounded. The silent advantage trains patience in a world addicted to immediacy. Patience is not waiting idly. It is resisting distraction while preparing. It allows you to see beyond short-term wins and avoid traps disguised as opportunities. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they speak too soon, act too fast, and expose too much. Silence corrects this. It slows impulse and sharpens judgment. There is also freedom in being unreachable. When you are not constantly available, you regain authority over your time. Access becomes intentional. Interaction becomes selective, and selectivity is a form of power. Silence makes your actions heavier. When you rarely speak, your words carry weight. When you rarely appear, your presence is felt. People notice consistency when it is not advertised. They sense confidence when it is not declared. They respect restraint when it is not explained. The silent advantage is not about disappearing forever. It is about controlling volume, knowing when to withhold and when to act, knowing that not every moment requires participation and not every thought requires expression. Those who embrace silence are not empty. They are full of intention. And while the world races to fill every gap with sound, the silent move through it with precision, untouched by distraction, immune to provocation, accumulating strength in the background. while others exhaust themselves proving they exist. The world will continue to reward noise. It will celebrate those who speak the most, share the fastest, and reveal everything without hesitation. That will not change. But power has never belonged to the loud. It has always belonged to the deliberate. To stay unseen is not to disappear. It is to choose sovereignty over spectacle. It is to move without permission, to grow without witnesses, to decide without influence. Invisibility protects your direction. Silence protects your energy. Mystery protects your leverage. When you stop competing for attention, you step outside the trap. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim control. When you stop reacting, you begin acting with precision. The unseen are not behind. They are ahead, just out of sight. And when they finally appear, it is never to seek approval. It is to change the outcome.